back with
Well,
another episode.
welcome
We're late.
to. I hope you have a blessed evening, sir. It's good to see you again. It's been too long
It's been a minute.
because we did our January episode a little early, and then you've been dying for two
I
weeks.
was I was out of commission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so today was literally like the first time I've seen you in
Like two
ages.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, if not more.
Yeah. Literally.
Uh, well, we're a little behind on things because Kanye dropped
Right.
and the Grammys happened.
Right.
And I think that's the main stuff. That new Bob Marley movie comes out. That looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm
We
actually
might
excited for that.
we might give that a watch or something, depending on what we can get ourselves to go do. But
Right.
uh, let's. I honestly, it takes a lot for me to like. I got to take this Kanye in doses because
Mhm.
he's been on something lately. So we'll do that one next week. I think even in our last episode, we were saying we're planning on doing the Grammys this week.
Right.
Um, I don't want to go through every award because there's a lot that like I could kind of care less who won, or like I
Right.
just didn't listen to a lot of the nominees because it's not really my genres or whatever. But
Yeah.
we got a solid list of a few here. Grammys are always controversial. No one's gonna or not. eh, Someone's fan base is gonna be upset. It
Right.
just guaranteed.
It
Everybody
it
knows
just
that.
happens. Right.
Yeah. So, like I guess you have a couple that are just like, I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah.
But like, for the most part, someone's fan base is going to be like stoked and just come out of the woodwork is like, I've been a lifelong fan. You're like, dog,
Literally.
no one's heard of this guy or girl or whoever. Um, so let's get into this, man,
Yeah.
because we got a handful of categories here.
Right.
Um, let's just start off right at the top with the big one. Record of the year.
Yeah.
So I also have the like criteria for what they go through. I didn't really
Mhm.
know they had like a set criteria, but
Okay.
I guess just to define the category. But this one is a little different than just like song of the year or whatever the other one is that they do
Mhm.
because it's more it goes to like the producers, the writers, like it goes to everybody that like worked on a song instead of just the song performance or the
Okay.
songwriting. So we have I'm just going to read through these nominees.
Mhm.
We've got Worship by Jean Baptiste, Not Strong Enough by Boy Genius, Flowers by Miley Cyrus, What Was I Made For, the Billie Eilish song from Barbie, On My Mama by Victoria Monet, Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo, Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift, and Kill Bill by SZA, with Miley Cyrus winning, I think, her first Grammy, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. So first of
Um,
which, I'm not gonna lie, shout out to her. Like,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
even mad at that pick.
yeah. I mean, she's like she's an icon, and icons are seen as both good or bad. So you can feel however you want about
Right.
Miley Cyrus, but like, uh, I have a lot of respect for her winning her first Grammy for how long she's been in music and how
Mhm.
many massive movements she's had in music over her career. I will say I think there's better songs on this list, and I also think there's better songs in general that didn't make
Yeah.
this list. Um, I truthfully like I'm not the biggest fan of any of these all that much. I would say my favorite on here is probably the SZA track Kill
Yep.
Bill. I think
Agreed.
it has some cool originality. People kind of love or hate Vampire. I think
Hmm.
she's got some good vocal elements to it. Again, not really my cup of tea. I do enjoy the Victoria Monet track as well.
Hmm.
Um, but truthfully, I think Billie Eilish probably should have won this for the songwriting on this one. I think
Yeah.
songwriting is a lot better. Um, and the reason I'm just not like fully stoked, like Miley Cyrus, great, whatever. I just think Miley has better songs. I really
Yeah.
do.
That's fair. Um, the only reason why I wouldn't give it to Billy because that like Billy and SZA are the two that I'd say were the closest to Miley. But with Billy, she's very good at this wispy, airy vocal, and she
Yeah.
does really good on it with this track. But sometimes it just gets to a point where it's a little much and
Yeah.
it's a lot. And so that's what I don't love about it, even though she does do really good at it. So
Yeah, for sure. And I will say, as far as like record of the year, when you're going for just the most impressive song overall, the Billie Eilish track, while it's pretty well written, is kind of boring, like
yeah.
quote unquote, if you're gonna say it that way, because it's like you're saying, it's very light, very airy, very
Mm,
mellow, and it doesn't really develop anywhere other than that. And so I do understand it from that standpoint. I just feel like in the history of the Grammys, you have all these iconic songs that are so diverse and
yeah.
original and like, you know, make great statements. Just the first one that comes to my mind whenever I think of this is "This Is America" by Childish
Mm,
Gambino.
yeah.
I believe that won this award. If it didn't, I'm gonna embarrass myself here, but I'm like 99% sure it won that award.
Right.
However long ago. But that song, in terms of its structure, its features, the production, the songwriting, the message was just so original and out there
Yeah.
and very important at the time, and was really cool to see. Um, he had like 21 Savage just ad lib randomly on the track, like just throwing a little dash of everything in there to make this track stand out. And I just felt like, while Flowers is fine and dandy, it's just kind of like, okay, a cool self love pop
Right.
song for Miley. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of my feelings. I also will say, before we move on from this category, I think the Grammys have a big problem when it comes to these categories where they isolate songs,
Hmm.
and like we're just worried about the song, the specific song here. They just nominate the most popular song or stuff from whatever they've already nominated for the other categories.
Yeah.
And like, or maybe vice versa. Like, this Miley record is also nominated for album of the year. The Boy Genius record is, the, Olivia Rodrigo. Like,
Hmm.
everybody that's on this list is also nominated for every other award in these
Right.
categories, which I just think is ridiculous. I think there's so much music out there. There's so many singles. There's projects out there that aren't great projects as a whole, but have a standout track.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I do think that's a problem with how they do nominations on a couple of these categories. But
Yeah. Do you have anyone that you think was snubbed or a song that you think really stood out?
I again, like, I'll probably lose credibility for saying this because I don't really like have one that comes to mind, because I do
Mhm.
feel like it's subjective. But I feel like there's a lot of songs that were just as big as these songs, but maybe were on projects that weren't loved as much,
Yeah.
or don't speak to the audience as much. Like, not for me, but Meltdown was a massive track this year.
Hmm.
Or First Person Shooter, I don't know if that missed the bill because it was too late. Or like Fast Car off of Luke Combs' album, or Last Night by Morgan Wallen. There's
Hmm.
massive songs on these other projects that I just think could have gotten the nomination over a couple of these
Yeah.
that just didn't, because they don't fit whatever bill.
Right. That's fair.
So
Cool.
Uh, well, let's move on to album of the year. I guess we're going through kind of in order of just any genre, and then we'll get into a couple specific ones here. But we have World Music Radio by John Batiste, The Record by Boy Genius, Endless Summer Vacation by Miley Cyrus. Did you know there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard by Lana Del Rey? The Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe. Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. Midnights by Taylor Swift, and SOS by SZA, with Midnights with a capital
Boo.
Midnights with a capital MID being the winner um, of the album of the year.
Bad call.
Yeah, let's get this out of the way. I For me, I think the SZA project probably should have won
Hmm.
on this list. I think they missed a plethora for whatever reason. I think they just are afraid to look outside of the pop genre for additional stuff, or to
Right.
do anything additional. Like, the few diverse hits they have in here are R&B, which are kind of pop albums, like R&B pop blends. Those are the
Hmm.
most daring, and they don't even like give them that respect or that
Right.
win. And there's nothing from hip hop, there's nothing from country, there's nothing from rock, despite great projects in all those genres this year.
Right.
On this list, though, I think SZA should have gotten the win for how big of a
100%.
project it was and how impressive she was on it. Um, I have a big problem with the Grammys, and it's that they can't figure out which lane they're trying to go in.
Yeah,
Because
literally.
you have a lot of these projects. These are all popular projects, but they're not like you would not hear a lot of the Lana Del Rey record on the radio.
Mhm.
You would not hear a lot of um, honestly, like SZA might have a couple on the radio, but you wouldn't hear this whole album on the radio the way you would hear Midnight's. The honestly, Janelle Monáe I know is a very popular artist. I haven't really listened through this full project, but she's not an artist that I hear on the radio all that much.
Mhm.
And maybe this project's different, and that's neither here nor there. But to give Taylor Swift the win in this nomination is so crazy because they can't figure out if they're nominating popular artists or if they're nominating artists for good artistry.
Right.
Because I don't know if Taylor Swift fans are this crazy. This is not the best Taylor Swift album.
No.
Even in the new Taylor Swift, this is not the best new album of
Right.
her like later years in her career. She has much better projects out there.
Hmm.
But because it was so popular, it feels like that's the reason it got the win. And yet, how are you not going to give something like Utopia, for example, a nomination? And maybe, we'll get into that later because that's going to be its own discussion. Or the Morgan Wallen record. I know they have
Hmm.
a big old vendetta against him, but Midnight's and One Thing at a Time were literally like the two albums, along with SOS by SZA, that took up like 6 months of the beginning of this year as the
Yeah.
number one albums. And so I just don't get what they're going for. Are you going for popularity contests? Because if so, fine, give Taylor Swift the win, and then it doesn't
Right.
really mean all that much because it's a popularity contest. But if you're really going to nominate the best albums,
Yeah.
this is like bottom tier on this list, and I haven't even listened to all of the Jean Baptiste or the Janelle Monáe records. I already know those ones are better. Like
Pop off.
that's my speech for
Yeah,
for this one.
it's stupid. This is like one of the reasons why I don't watch anything of like the Grammys, or why I never really care about it, because I knew if I really got into it, then I'd be upset always. And I just don't need that in my life. Um, I agree. I do think in this aspect, it's popularity. Her name's been beyond like talked about this entire year because of her Eras tour, and like, and then she becomes an NFL fan out of nowhere, and then so her name being constantly talked about throughout the entire year of 2023, and probably will be for half of this year as well. I'm not surprised that they gave it to her, but like, honestly, I think Doja Cat did better with Scarlet. Like, if I'm being honest, bro, I've been bumping that for a minute now. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's kind of a good album. I might take back what I said back at that. But it's
I said what I said. I paint the town red.
not that song. I do hate that song. That one's dumb. But yeah, I do agree. It's everyone saw it coming. It's not a surprise, and it's stupid. That album is trash, and bite me. I don't care.
Well, on that note, let's go ahead into Song of the Year. And this one is specifically a songwriting award. So we have A&W, which is on the Lana Del Rey project, Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift, Butterfly by Jean Baptiste, Dance the Night by Dua Lipa for a songwriting award is crazy. Flowers by Miley Cyrus, Kill Bill on the SZA project, Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo, and What Was I Made For from the Barbie movie by Billie Eilish, which in fact was the winner. And I don't even mind that at all. I
Yeah,
think,
I'm cool with
especially
that.
of the nominations, even nominations aside, I think it's very well written track. So I don't mind that being the winner
Yeah.
at all. Kill Bill is also interesting. And honestly, I feel like Flowers is better written than it's performed if
Yeah.
we're splitting hairs. But
The
I
the only thing with Flowers is is just the originality. Like I get where
Mhm.
you're coming from, but it's a play on Bruno Mars's "When I Was Your Man." Like, and I'm not docking the song. I like that song. It's a solid song, but I'm glad that it went to Billy in the end.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yep.
Um, so that's easy. Let's move on
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
best new artist here. Um, I was astonished by this, to be completely honest with you. We have Gracie Abrams, Fred again, Ice Spice, Jelly Roll, Coco Jones, Noah Khan. I always mess up his names. Noah Khan, Victoria Monet, and the Warren Treaty, with Victoria Monet taking the win. I 1,000% thought this was going to Ice Spice.
Dude, when I saw that she didn't win, I almost had a party.
Right, right. Um, I did not listen to the Victoria Monet record when it came
Yeah.
out, but I did in preparation for this episode, and I actually got some songs off it I quite
Oh,
enjoy.
cool.
It's a very cool blend of 70s era music with R&B. It's a lot of fun. I also listened to the Coco Jones record.
Mhm.
Not as big of a fan of that, but that has some cool 90s and 2000s influence in it as well.
Yeah.
Um, Personally, if I'm like talking about people I come back to the most, I would probably say Jelly Roll, but that's just because I'm more of a country music kind of person than I
Yeah.
am pop or R&B. Um, but again, like by their own metric, the Grammys messed this award up, because how are you going to give Taylor Swift's Midnight's album of the year, because it did all these crazy numbers, and
Right.
not give it to Ice Spice when she was like second only to Taylor Swift this year and who was
Literally.
talked about and listened to the most?
Yeah. Oh
So,
man, it made me so happy seeing she didn't win.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I do like Jelly Roll. I don't really know any of these people, to be honest.
Yeah.
But we've talked plenty about Ice Spice, and just because of like out of nowhere Jelly Roll came through and then just started making some bangers, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this guy's kind of cool. Kind of like him."
Yeah.
But I'm just glad I didn't go to Ice Spice.
For sure. Anyways, we'll go on from there. Just in passing this category for non-classical producer, Taylor Swift's Midnight's producer Jack Antonoff won that award. He also did the Victoria Monet record and the Lana Del Rey record and the record by the 1975 this year.
Wow.
He's a pretty cool producer of that kind of stuff. I feel like a lot of what he does is very similar. I personally would have loved to see Metro win this one, Metro Boomin, because
Yeah.
of how insane of a year he had, from
Yeah.
everything on his own projects to he did everything with the um, Young Thug project that came out, the Travis project he helped with, the Drake project. He just was, his
Yeah.
hand was everywhere this year.
Literally.
But anyways, our next category we have is best pop solo performance, and if my app is going to scroll, I will get there. We again have Miley Cyrus with Flowers, Doja Cat's Paint the Town Red, something you've been bumping
No,
lately.
not that one. No.
What Was I Made For, by Billie Eilish, Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo, and Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift, with Flowers being the winner. And if this one didn't win Record of the Year, I would have been fine if this one won it in this category.
Mhm.
Um, Honestly, personally, based on like the winners that we've had in these other categories, I would really give this one to Olivia Rodrigo, just
Mm.
because of the influence of her in pop music right now. And I think as a pop song, this one, I was gonna say had the biggest moment, but Paint the Town Red and Anti-Hero were both massive as well.
Yeah.
But I do think in terms of pop song performances, I think she sounded the best. That's just a me thing though. But I don't
Right.
mind Miley winning this one. I think that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I have nothing to say about this one. It is what it is.
All right. Well, we're gonna skip the rest of the pop categories because I don't really care all that much.
Yeah, I'm over it.
Just as I'm scrolling past best rock album, Paramore, This Is Why, won best rock album this year. I could be
Wow.
wrong, but I read somewhere or I heard somewhere that this is the first time a female fronted rock band has won that award. So
Wow.
super cool for
Shout out
Paramore.
to Paramore.
I loved this record.
Yeah,
I
I thought
didn't
it
at
was
first.
trash.
I I did not love it the first time I heard it, but I ended up being quite a big fan of it. Um, but we are going to go directly to a very specific R&B category because this has the most albums that I enjoyed.
Mhm.
Best progressive R&B album with Since I Have a Lover by Black being nominated, the Love album by Diddy, which I think is ridiculous because the whole point of like progressive R&B albums was to be something different than what Diddy was doing throughout the 90s. Like that's the most basic R&B album you could ever have, I feel like. But anyways, Nova by Terrence Martin and James Fauntleroy. I'm not familiar with that one. The Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe and SOS by SZA, which won the album. This was an interesting category because both of us spoke very highly of Since I Have a Lover by
Yeah.
Black. But SZA is a very understandable winner in this category, I feel like.
See, for me, and this might just be because I wasn't a fan of the album. I do think Black should have taken it, and that's just my personal opinion, just because I did enjoy Black's album a lot more. I just think throughout the entirety of the album, there's not really misses. If there are, it's like one or two off the entirety of it. Um, he's not really talking about the same kind of thing. It's all different. It's I don't know. I like from where he was to where he is now, a whole like genre flip. I think he nailed it. And I'm not even into like R&B like that, but this it's still one of my favorite albums. I still come back to that one all the time. I just wasn't a huge fan of SZA's album.
Yeah, for sure. I will agree with you. I would say I definitely prefer the Black album. Um, I'm trying to see if um I was a little surprised also that SZA wasn't in the traditional R&B album category
Mhm.
because I felt like this one was it had a lot of pop in it, but it felt like it was pretty straightforward like an R&B
Yeah,
album. Maybe I'm just like not grasping the let's see. I'm trying to figure out like what the difference in criteria is because I was kind of
right.
under the impression of like something that bends more genres and does something different than
Yeah.
just traditional R&B. That could be wrong, but
It's just interesting that like she's in this category, but then also like all of the pop ones. But then you look
right.
at a lot of these other artists, and it's like, okay, well, why didn't you put them in it? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of stupid.
Yeah, for sure. And I was gonna say I felt like Black did a little more adventurous kind of stuff on the album. He
Hmm.
had a lot of acoustic instrumentals. I know SZA had a handful as well, but he also did a lot of rap and like blended just I felt like more diversity into it. So for
Yeah.
that reason, I kind of felt like maybe that should get a nod.
Right.
But the SZA record was massive, and so I can't really be all
Yeah.
that mad with her winning it because of how big it was.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think she's very talented. So I don't
Yeah,
really.
100%. She like nonetheless, even though like I didn't enjoy the album, she
Yeah,
did deserve it. Like it's not like she wasn't deserving and Black got snubbed and like, oh, this is crazy. No, I just prefer the other album over
right.
this. But hats off to her either way.
Yeah, for sure. Um, well, let's move into the rap categories now. Um, we have first best rap performance. I was
Bro, this one's stupid. This first nominee is actually the dumbest thing I ever seen in my life.
I was astonished by this list of nominees for best rap performance.
Yeah,
Like I know it
this
was a
is
down year for hip hop, and I'm now that I'm like coming to my senses a little more. I think the first person shooter was probably just too late to get a nomination.
yeah.
And but regardless, there's still better hip hop songs than what
Dude,
was put out in
even
this
even though it
list.
was a down year, there were still so many good like performances, like singles,
Yeah,
like so many more. And this one I will point out somebody who was definitely snubbed, but
yeah,
anyways,
for
let's
sure.
hear this list.
We've got The Hillbillies by Baby Keem and Kendrick Lamar. Not my favorite song, though I think it is original. Um, Love Letter by Black Thought. Honestly, a very good song. I do think Black Thought has musically better stuff, but it's a very cool song. Rich Flex by Drake and 21.
That's crazy.
Again, if you're talking popularity, I get it. But if
Sure.
you're
Yeah,
talking
absolutely.
artistry, which is like the rest of these, like Love Letter and the Hillbillies, and this next one, Scientists and Engineers by Killer Mike, Andre 3000, and Future, those are very artistic, intricate rap songs that are
Yeah.
not, you're not just going to hear on the radio. So what the heck is Rich Flex and
Right.
Players, which is the last nomination by Coi Leray? What the heck are those two doing in this list? Because that is not cohesive at all. It's like, oh, we got to throw in a couple of popular ones, and then like let's give Black Thought a nomination as well, just so that everybody's happy.
Oh
There's
my
like, no, just
gosh.
stick to like a good criteria.
Literally. I am happy with the winner, scientists
Yeah,
and engineers. I listened to that song for the first time in a long time the other day, and oh, I'm not mad at that choice at all. In fact,
yeah,
I'm out of these nominations, oh, I'm so happy this one won because
yeah.
it's that song is crazy actually.
Yeah, to be frank, I completely forgot that song came out last year. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it would have been pretty high in my top 10
Yeah,
songs of the year. I think
literally.
it's very, very, very good.
Yeah. I think the biggest snub, and this was in our top 10, both of ours, was Doomsday. I think
Yeah.
now, like I said, I'm not mad at scientists and engineers winning. Like that's great, but to put like Rich Flex over like Doomsday, in my opinion, stupid. Like it should have gotten a nomination at least.
Yeah, I don't know why, because we're talking about best rap performance,
Yeah.
right? And so, like the Hillbillies, while it's a little ridiculous, I kind of get why it's in best rap performance because
Mhm.
Kendrick Lamar is out here dropping crazy bars with
Yeah.
like a Southern Texas style accent. Like it's kind of original. It's
Oh,
like not,
100%.
it's not a great listen for
Yeah.
me. It's not my favorite. I think
Yeah,
he's
it's
got
pretty
better stuff. I
trash.
think Baby Keem's got better stuff. But it's like, okay, I get like from a rap performance,
Right.
it's interesting.
Right.
Love Letter by Black Thought is an astonishing rap performance. If you
Mm.
haven't listened to it, you should listen to it.
I'll
It's like
give
a
that one on.
six.
Yeah.
It's like a 6 minute. I don't know if it's a freestyle. It sounds like a freestyle. 100% acapella.
Wow.
Like basically rapping through his life, his childhood, like problems, race issues, just crazy. Like ticker down the list of like just any topic
That's
you
crazy.
could imagine, basically. Uh, and then we have freaking 21. Can you do something for me? Can you
That's
hit the rich
crazy.
flex for me?
That's crazy, bro.
I don't even remember Coil Ray really rapping like that on Players. I feel like
Yeah.
Doja had better rap performances on her album.
Yeah. I
But
didn't I didn't listen to that song, but I saw Coil Ray on here. I was like, what? What do you mean?
but I guess just ultimately the point being, I felt like the rap performances were very impressive on Doomsday.
Yeah, but
So I
I don't
agree with
know.
you there.
That's just one I probably could have thought of at least 12 more, but
Yeah.
just because it was on both of our lists, it's a very solid song throughout the year.
Yeah.
I just thought that was ridiculous.
But 100%, I'm very happy with Scientists and
Oh,
Engineers winning this one. I
100%.
think as far as rap songs go, it's probably the
Yeah.
most deserving this year. Um, Best melodic rap performance. Oh, I was gonna say, I think on the last category, it probably should have gone to Playboy Cardi for Fiend, but that's a just kidding. Um, Best melodic rap performance, we have Sitting on Top of the World by Burna Boy and 21 Savage. Honestly, a track it's pretty good. It's not my
Yeah.
favorite. Attention by Doja Cat, Spin About You by Drake and 21. Probably my favorite song on that album. All My Life by Lil Durk and J. Cole with SZA also being nominated for Low. I'm gonna have to go back and revisit that one. I honestly don't remember that song very
Mm.
much. All My Life winning. J. Cole his second Grammy and Dirk his first. How are you
Yeah.
feeling about that?
Man, congrats to them. Honestly, like once again,
Yeah,
seeing this list, I'm glad it went to them.
yeah,
It was such a great song. I mean, it got us hyped, even though it was a catfish for Lil Durk's entirety like of his album. But
yeah.
it's a solid song. I love the chorus. I love both of their verses. They both sound amazing on it. They mesh really, really well together. Uh, yeah, hats off to them. Great pick.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Even in like thinking through other melodic rap performances from this year that you could nominate, I do think there's some that I would say maybe I prefer. Even like a Niagara Falls off of
Yeah,
Metro's project, like is something I prefer. Um, J. Cole has a crazy feature on this one. Dirk and the kids chorus
yeah,
thing that they do is pretty cool. So honestly, even just in terms of the whole year, there's not many that I would be like definitely should have beat this one. I
yeah.
think this is a pretty solid pick.
Agreed.
Um, Again, Attention by Doja Cat. I don't get why that one's even in here, but best rap song is the next category. This is a songwriting award. Attention by Doja Cat, Barbie World by Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice somehow is the best written rap song or one of them. Also, Just Wanna Rock by Lil Uzi is somehow the best written rap song. Rich Flex, again, somehow the best written rap song this year. But Scientists and Engineers, again, is the winner in this category.
Thank you.
Super stoked about that. I would have
Yeah.
been fine um, if I was going to say if Black Thought also got nominated for this one, which he didn't, I would have been fine with him winning just because of how impressive the songwriting on that
Yeah.
is. But uh, yeah, Scientists and Engineers, very well written, very good
Hmm.
song, and just excellently performed. So
Yeah, I think they missed out with like the two that I think they really missed was My Eyes, Travis Scott. I think
mm,
that's an amazingly written song.
yeah,
And then also I think What's That by Joyner, even though he didn't drop like the entirety like of the album, I
mm,
think it's overlooked, but I think it's one of his best written songs that he has out. Um
yeah,
and deserved more attention than things like Attention and
Barbie World.
Barbie World and Just Wanna Rock. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a cool song like to just like I don't know, kind of dance to, but
Yeah,
there it's just I just want to rock, 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 and that's it.
body yada yada.
Yeah,
Like what the heck is
yeah,
that doing in a writing category?
literally. But I mean, once again, like glad that it did go to scientists and engineers. It could have
Yeah.
easily pissed a lot of people off by going to somebody random. But good for
Yeah.
them. It is very well
Honestly,
written.
like the more I'm looking at this, the more I'm embarrassed that I totally forgot that it because like I didn't forget that this was a song. I just when I was making my end of the year list, I totally forgot that this was like
Yeah,
something I could consider. And it's honestly one of the better rap songs I've
yeah,
heard in a
I
long time.
agree.
And so if you're really like a fan of rap and rapping more than just like radio hip hop hits,
And Drake.
yeah, I think you'll for sure appreciate the wins that scientists and engineers got
Yeah,
for those two categories. But let's go into our last one that we wanted to talk about here. Best rap album. Her Loss, Drake and 21 Savage getting the nomination. Again, I don't understand the Grammys metrics because this is not the best.
no,
It's not the best rap song or rap album. But if you're going for popularity, I'd get it. But like,
right.
then you have Michael by Killer Mike, which is like a very like it's not my favorite Killer Mike album. I think he's got more impressive stuff in his catalog, especially
Yeah,
in the Run the Jewels catalog. But like I understand it getting a nomination for its artistry because it is very cool. Um, and then you've got like Heroes and Villains by Metro Boomin, King's Disease 3 by Nas, a
that's
great
shocking.
project. Really, in like that you
Just to see Nas up there, like
okay,
they could have very well easily done some. I can't name albums off the top of my head,
right.
but like somebody just like Drake and 21 and just do
Yeah.
popular. But to see Nas, come back and have a nominee is insane.
Yeah, 100%. And especially when they already gave him a Grammy for earlier in the King's Disease
Yeah,
series. So super cool. And then Utopia by Travis Scott, very expected to win this award, but he lost out yet again,
ridiculous.
snubbed again
Someone
to
needs to
Killer
be sued.
Mike's Michael.
That's
Um,
crazy.
I'll be like, I mean, I think people can gauge by our reactions. We're a little shocked and maybe a little disappointed in this category because while I feel like a song like Scientists and Engineers was one of the best rap songs this year, um, I think Utopia is a far superior project. It's much more daring. It's much more original. It's much more adventurous. It blends a lot more variety into it. It's much more. I, I don't know if I want to say memorable moments because Scientists and Engineers is pretty
Yeah.
memorable, but I think in terms of the if you're talking about all these categories of production, vocals, rap, flows, writing, I think the only thing that Michael does better is the writing.
Hmm.
And Killer Mike's a very excellent writer of music,
Yeah.
but I think Utopia is a much better album in
Yeah.
every sense. To be fair, I don't think I would be as like distraught about this win if it wasn't for the Astroworld Cardi B fiasco in
That's
2018.
crazy.
That was ridiculous. This one is not nearly that egregious, but it's still astonishing that
Yeah.
Travis is still Grammyless after. I mean, especially just in the culture of hip hop,
Yeah.
this album was everything to everyone this year.
Literally.
Everybody loved this. Everybody put this up there as one of the better projects this year.
It had to have
Um,
been in everybody's top three, at least.
oh, for sure. Like I just yeah, I'm astonished that Killer Mike won, not because I think Killer Mike's trash or I think Michael is like a terrible album, but just because of how big Utopia was and how good it was.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised to say
Yeah.
the least that Killer Mike won.
It's just crazy because Utopia was so highly anticipated, and everybody was like, man, like, if this is anything but incredible, like, you kind of blew it. And then, in my opinion, yeah, someone who like wasn't a fan of Travis Scott whatsoever, like before any of this, it's just crazy that, in my opinion, I think he did better than everyone expected that he would do. Like, I just think he had a bar and then raised it for himself. And so I think it's pretty dumb that he didn't win. Like, shout out to Killer Mike, but no.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I kind of alluded to this when I was like, Killer Mike fans are just coming out of the woodwork now. Like, this is the best album of the year. When like nobody's been on pages saying that. Nobody's been in their comments dropping that like take until after the Grammys.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't think it's a bad album. I think he's very talented. Personally, I enjoy other stuff from his discography, but I I mean, for the most part, I think unbiased hip hop fans are pretty surprised and maybe a little disappointed that Travis didn't win. Um, even Nas's album, personally, I like more than the Killer Mike project. I thought King's Disease 3 was really good.
Yeah.
Um, it also would have been cool for Metro to win the first best rap album as a producer.
Yeah.
I don't think his album was quite strong enough all the way through to do that, but uh, I mean, like you said, cool for Killer Mike, but
Right.
I definitely I think we all know that Travis deserved that one.
Yeah, he should have won. It
I
sucks
did,
because I didn't care about the Astro World thing, like, nor
yeah,
did I even know about it until recent events. Um, so this one kind of hurts me a little more. It's like, wow, like that's that's sad.
yeah. I mean, the other thing is like I didn't watch the awards, so maybe he did, but I don't think Killer Mike even performed at the awards ceremony.
Oh,
They literally asked Travis Scott to perform Fiend at the Grammys after they gave all of the awards to Killer Mike.
no, that's crazy. I would have said no.
I mean, like, yeah, I was. I think there's a clip of him on the socials where I don't know what lyric it is that he swapped out, but he swapped out a lyric and said they slept on me 10 times, like after he didn't get the Grammy. So yeah, he was a little peeved. I mean, maybe he can rest better, at least knowing that it wasn't invasion of privacy again, that or Cardi B. Like that's the equivalent of like Sexy Red's album winning over him this year. So at least it's like a respectable kind of hip hop legend, but
Right.
still, I
Yeah.
mean, truth be told, I think I enjoyed all of those projects except maybe the Her Loss project
Yeah.
more than Killer Mike's. But cool for him.
Yeah. Shout out to Killer Mike, I guess.
Yep.
Good job.
We were talking about this earlier between Trav and Post Malone, who are two of my favorites. I know you're a big Post Malone fan. I don't know if you'd consider Trav a favorite, but 10 nominations each, 20 combined nominations, and no wins. Maybe they just need to get together and drop an absolutely insane collab album and get themselves a Grammy.
I'm for it. Hold on. That might be crazy.
That would be something.
Might not be good, but I'm for it.
Yeah.
No, I think the Post Malone one is wild. Like especially since we've talked about Travis, like uh it's mind-boggling that Post hasn't won one either. Like I don't know, a lot of these stats are like crazy. Like the fact that this was only J. Cole's second Grammy, and like I don't know. It's not even
Yeah.
because like they're some of my favorite artists and I don't like who they're choosing. It's just like I don't know. It seems like these at least these three artists, they take over the industry with whatever they drop, like just about, especially in recent years, and they get close and lose out to somebody else. It's just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, there's an Eminem line that's aged incredibly well for me off of Kamikaze, and I'm paraphrasing, so I'm gonna butcher it, but um, he says like basically screw the Grammys. They suck the blood from all the biggest artists like leeches. They get them there, nominate them, get like a big MC and like all these great performers to come out just to go and give the award to somebody that no one's ever even heard
Yeah.
of. And he like obviously goes off and says whatever, but like not that nobody's heard of Killer Mike, but like literally giving songs and artists nominations just to get attention when they give it to somebody else. I feel
Yeah.
like happens fairly often. I didn't even know about this one because this happened when I was like out on a mission and didn't wasn't really around the music world. The Weeknd's album Blinding Light with
Mhm.
Blinding Lights, After Hours, one of the biggest albums that year, is still like breaking streaming records. Zero nominations.
That's crazy.
Zero
I didn't
nominations.
know that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so crazy one there. We kind of talked about some snubs that you had. Did you have any more or anything that you wanted to say about them?
Nah, there's a lot of people like I granted, I don't think Post Malone's album was the best this year. I do think it was very good. I think like his song Morning, I think that was snubbed in some genre. Like I thought it was a very well written song. It was very well produced. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like me personally, I think the Kid Leroy could have been on there for Bleed. I thought that was a solid song. I know you
Hmm.
probably would disagree with that one. I do enjoy that song quite a bit. Um, I don't know. It's just kind of it's annoying because like you were saying earlier, every pop category were the exact same people, the exact same songs that were nominated.
Hmm.
Like didn't even switch up songs. Like Vampire to me. granted, like if you like that kind of music, at this point, it is what it is. It's
Yeah.
whatever. But it's not like I don't know. I think there were songs on Olivia's album that were much better in a
Yeah,
lot of
100%.
regards, like that should have been nominated. I don't think Vampire was her best. I think in some categories, sure, like nominated, like whatever, like it
Yeah.
is what it is, but I think that's stupid. I just don't like that there's no diversity whatsoever when it comes to like the pop genres. Um and even some of the rap because I'm kind of tired of seeing Drake on there for garbage performances.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, at this point, I feel like the biggest names have basically said like they don't care about
Yeah,
the Grammys anymore. Um, like I don't know about a guy like Kendrick or Cole. I think they probably could kind of care less if they win, but like if they get the honor, then they'll like accept it. But like
right.
I know names like Eminem and even like Drake asked that Certified Lover Boy be taken off the nominations because he's like, I don't like care what you guys do. I don't respect your opinions on
Yeah,
this kind of stuff. So don't even nominate me. Like give it to somebody else.
yeah. See, that's
Which
cool.
yeah, and
Like, good for
so
him.
I think the writing's on the wall, and honestly, we just kind of do this episode for fun because I don't
Right.
think either of us really puts any stake in what
Nah,
the
I
Grammys
really don't care.
decide, and I think most of the public doesn't really either at this point. Um, I mean, I was thinking of snubs, and there's a few that come to my mind, but it really just comes back to the fact that I don't feel like the Grammys have a good sense of who they are or what they're trying to say with their winners. They're
Yeah,
not nominating, you know, the biggest, most popular names because if you're going to do that, Morgan Wallen doesn't have a single nomination in
right.
any category. His one song last night is in a songwriting category, which he's not even credited with a writing credit for, so he wouldn't even get the award if it did win, which
Yeah,
it
that's
didn't.
crazy.
Um, and so even if you don't like his music and you don't want him, in a big mainstream category, he had the biggest country art or country album by a mile this year. So
Yeah,
why is that not in consideration if you're nominating all these popular songs? If
right.
you want to go with something more artistic, that's fine. Zach Bryan got a lot of nominations, well deserved for
Right.
being very artistic and original, and other artists got that as well. But then you have, if you're going to go with the artistry route, I don't understand why something like JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown
Yeah,
doesn't get respect in the hip hop category for doing something very original and groundbreaking that was very well received by the
yeah,
critical and fan communities in hip hop.
right.
Like, or Lil Yachty bent tons of genres and was very successful, and critics and fans loved it. Where the heck are any nominations for him?
Right.
So I just don't get, like, they need to be better at saying we're nominating popular artists and nominate the popular artists, or
Right.
we're nominating things that are artistic and original and groundbreaking and pushing boundaries, and then nominate those people. You can't just like sprinkle in some of both to try to make both people happy, because
Right.
then it's just confusing and you don't actually have
Yeah.
any real good winners.
Yeah, I think popularity needs to just go out the window. I'm tired of seeing the same artists all the time when, like we were saying earlier, when there's so much creativity, when there's so much music out there from like so many different artists that yeah, you might not hear of them, but that doesn't mean like they don't have better music than this person that's been making music for 20 years. Like
Right.
I just like, and this isn't even like me trying to hate on Taylor Swift at this point. It's like it wasn't a great album. It's not one of her best. Why is she winning anything? Respectfully, honestly,
Yeah.
like it's
It's just because it was popular.
exactly. It's because it's Taylor Swift, and if Taylor Swift isn't on the list, then the Swifties go crazy, and it's riots in the
Right.
street. And I just yeah, no, it's stupid. Popularity votes need to go away. It should just be based off of actual artistry and the ability to create music and songwriting and producing and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
I mean, if I was going to rewrite the Grammys, I would agree with you 100% because there's award shows out there for that specific thing. There's
Yeah.
People's Choice Awards where the fans can vote, and Taylor Swift fans can be crazy and vote as much as they want and let her
Right.
win that award. And that's totally fine. That's what it's there for.
Right.
There's Billboard Music Awards for artists that spend the most time on the charts. Those are, very sought after positions
Right.
and awards. So let those do their thing. You are the recording academy. You are supposed to be experts. Nominate the people that are good
Right.
at what they're doing, not who are just popular at what they're doing. Uh, and honestly, I would throw in more categories for production and instrumental
Yeah,
sides of
absolutely.
things, because regardless of whether you're going to give Travis the best album, if you don't think it's quote unquote rap enough, because you know he has a lot of other influences in it as well,
Yeah.
fine. But I think we all can agree that the production is very standout and very
Yeah.
impressive, and probably the most deserving. Or Metro could
Yeah.
have been in that conversation as well. I would just say I think that those categories are or that aspect of music's being overlooked at these award shows, when there's a lot of writing things, and I
Yeah.
think not a lot of artists care very much about writing
Yeah.
as much anymore.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
Makes me sad because as an artist myself, I'd love to go to the Grammys just because, that'd be cool. But then the other
Yeah,
half of me is like, this is stupid. Like I actually hate the Grammys. I can't
yeah,
stand it. Like it's a stupid event in my opinion. But I still want to go. That'd be cool.
yeah, yeah. It would be cool.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see you out there, maybe sometime.
2025.
2025.
I'll be there.
That's good. You better put out that album pretty quick then.
Oh, yeah, it's in the works.
It's in the works. We're cooking. You're
We're
finally
cooking.
healthy. You can start recording again. Good,
Literally.
good deal, man. Well, that's the Grammys.
Yeah.
I think that's enough of that. We'll
Yeah,
probably
I'm
do
over it.
this same shenanigan for the Oscars to talk about the
Yeah.
inevitable ridiculousness that's going to happen there.
I like the Oscars a
Um,
little bit more. I'm a little bit more okay with the Oscars.
I mean, to each their own. I've got my beef with the Oscars, but that's a me thing. Uh,
That's
yeah. So next week, probably do the Vultures album.
yeah.
Little review there. We've also got some fun stuff in the works that we are cooking up, so that I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
But yeah, until next week, it looks like.
Yeah. Until then.
Cheers.